medical center out in the Beachwood. But no one, we wouldn't. That would be someone I don't think we would think of. Yeah, because otherwise it's got to be like Wolstein or Lewis. My jaw would hit the floor. Really? We got you for 56 million, and now we're getting you 38. Building was 56. He was 38.
Not too much. How are you?
Cool.
Cool.
It's my agenda. I'm not gonna know what to do. I'm just gonna start calling things in a random order.
Colleen.
You wanna like run across and tell them in 10 minutes or something? Just say 10. Let's just be safe.
There she is.
We have a printer error.
She's just like, here's your damaging. Jaisal, want to toss one to Bruce? He's begging for an agenda.
Throw it, frisbee it.
Don't do it.
Way to be How's it going?
Hi.
Good.
Nice savings.
Colleen, I'm sorry I screwed up with what was taking me longer is I was gonna put all the individual lines in to those signs. And then I reread your email and realized that did you get the template that I sent you today? You didn't get it?
Well, no, I didn't finish my emails. I was so excited in the morning.
Yeah, I'll have to.
You know I only need one sign and they'll put the text.
Right, that was what was holding me up, is I did a template and then I was gonna send you everything, and then I was gonna put on all the text last night and send it to you, and I reread your email and I was like, oh.
Oh, you put it to each sign.
Yeah, so it's fine. Are they gonna? They might not have the font that we need though, is my concern. Just because I did everything brand compliant. I did our new frame. Have you seen? It's we call it a brand element. It's like one of those things you can use as part of our like marketing scheme, and it's just the frame. So it's with the open corner, like the open upper corner. So you just use that frame. So that's gonna be incorporated in a lot of the new templates and things. So.
That sign, they do all the university signs. No one's
It's a free download. So it's a free. I mean, the font is free. We offer it to all universities. So sure thing. Glad I could help. Ready to go? What? You can use either logo with the tagline or without. Just it needs to be the most updated one because certain elements will change. No, it can be the horizontal one without the tagline. That still exists. It's been modified slightly. It's solid color and they've thickened the sunburst a little bit. I'll take a look. Ready?
Yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to General Assembly. We're going to call roll.
Representative Ateshelu.
President voting.
Representative Bagat. Representative Crawley. Representative Haas. Representative Hamilton.
President voting.
Representative Hammond. Representative Kawashima. Representative Mikowski. Representative Matthews. Representative Moser.
President voting.
Representative O'Brien.
Here.
Representative Pendat. Representative Prulowski.
President voting.
Representative Shim. Representative Baisley.
President voting.
Representative Bell.
President voting.
Representative Downey.
President voting.
Representative Hoffman. Representative Lupton.
President voting.
Representative McCachran.
President voting.
Representative Villano. Representative Brubaker.
President voting.
Representative Renard.
President voting.
Representative In.
President voting.
Representative Fernandez.
President voting.
Representative Sedana. Representative Asaf. Representative Gunasakar. Representative Moeller.
President voting.
Representative Rodensik. Representative Ianidi. Representative Irizarry.
President voting.
Representative Zhang. Treasurer Shaw.
Present.
Speaker Douglas.
Present.
Parliamentarian Agarwal.
Present.
Vice President Nguyen.
President voting.
Vice President Thompson.
President voting.
Vice President Sanford.
President voting.
Vice President Wang.
President voting.
Vice President Weber.
President voting.
President Pinder.
President voting.
Could our guests introduce themselves, please? Welcome.
All right, thank you. Well, let me start, and actually, I'll introduce our board chair. Great to be here. Thank you, Bruce.
Yes.
Thank you, Dwayne. Thanks for inviting us. I haven't been for a while, so it really is great to be back. I want to start by congratulating the officers and representatives who won the election. It is great. Mintry, congratulations officially. We're very excited, and I look forward to working with you. And I know our board chair feels the same way. I will say you have some big shoes to fill, and I don't mean just literally. That too. But we've had a great succession of student leaders since I've been here. And it's been really wonderful for me. Adam Roop was here my first year, and then Miles Nikolich, and then Dwayne. So it's really been a wonderful run for me, and no pressure, but keep that up. And it's been great really working with Dwayne. He has great passion for Case Western Reserve, as I do, and he's really been a huge help and cares a lot about advancing the interests of the undergraduates, and I know you do too. So I'm really looking forward to another great year. Bud Koch and I want to leave time for questions, so we're going to keep our introductory remarks very brief. I just wanted to really say one main thing to all of you. As the elected representatives for the student body, your voices carry enormous weight here. And we want to hear from you. That's one of the reasons I like to come, to hear directly from you. We want your ideas. You've been really, really helpful. Some of you might remember the challenges we faced when the Euclid Corridor project was yet to be finished, crossing the street, and we had a big debate with the RTA over the crosswalk situation, and USG helped us with a resolution, and we really worked hard to try to make some changes. We got not everything we wanted, but we got some good concessions in that process. So I am really grateful for everything you do to serve your fellow students in the university. It is so important. We value your energy, your commitment, your insights. We know it's not easy. I get the occasional criticism too from people who would like to advise me on how to do my job, and I think Bud will be able to tell you the same thing, and I know you get those as well. I think sometimes your colleagues in the student body don't really understand the commitment that you make to take on these leadership roles and just how much time is involved. Goodness, just the amount of time you spend in meetings. And believe me, I can relate. But still, USG is very, very important to us, and I think it's one of the most rewarding activities on campus. I hope you all agree. I think the fact that you're here suggests that you do. I think it actually provides great preparation for the things you will be doing as you leave us. And I think it might be hard to imagine now, but if you ask Dwayne and the other seniors, your year is going to go very fast, those of you who just got elected. It seems like just yesterday he and I were meeting to begin planning for the year, and now it's over. It goes so fast. I'm intrigued. You hear that now. Now, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to a true giant among leaders at Case Western Reserve, and again, both literally and figuratively. Those of you who grew up in Cleveland might know something about the way his leadership turned Charter One Bank into the thing that was so attractive. Somebody came along and bought it, didn't they, Bud? But he has been a true leader in this community. He actually was chair of the John Carroll Board before, and is now our board chair and doing a phenomenal job. He is actually the son of a graduate of Case Institute of Technology and the father of 2 graduates of Case Western Reserve University, particularly the Weatherhead School. And we are delighted that he is our board chair. It's a privilege to work with him. We are fortunate to have such a great leader. And it is now my pleasure to introduce him to you, Bud Koch.
Thank you, Barbara. That was a very gracious introduction. Some of it might be true, most of it's not.
All of it is.
You know, I may begin by saying that I echo Barbara's gratitude in letting us chat with you all tonight. And, you know, it's more than just polite rhetoric that we come here because we want to listen and get some ideas from you all. Because if you think about it, a lot of us have ideas, but most of us are, you know, I'm talking about the board, 30, 40 years out. So the folks that really know what's going on around this place are you all. So, you know, you're sitting here, you're living on the campus, you're eating on the campus, you're doing extracurricular activities, on and on and on. So we really do value your opinion. I know one of our committees, Academic Affairs and Student Life, meets with, I'm sure a lot of you have already have interacted with them over the years. I know, I'm sure Dwayne has. And that's probably the longest report we get every board meeting. From Thalia on what's going on. And you know, what's really interesting is we recruit a reasonable number of new board members every year. We have some term limits so that there's enough turnover to keep things going on. And it's very interesting, a number of new board members that sign up for the Academic Affairs Student Life Committee. They said, we really want to find out what's going on, and we can't really find that out sitting in an investment committee or finance or one of the other committees. So we want to get down and get our hands dirty and try to see what things are like and what your experience is. You know, we will listen to your suggestions. We know that there's some things we do well, and we know that there's things that need improvement, but you have to tell us that. And to the extent that we need improvement, we will listen. Some of them are things we'll act on as quickly as we can. Some of them we will, for various reasons, not be able to act on, but if we don't know about it, we can't do anything about it. As Barbara said, the main purpose tonight is to have a dialogue, so I'll also be quite brief. Dwayne asked me to provide a little bit of background about what the board does. The trustees at Case Western Reserve are 45 members strong. They're mostly alumni, about probably 65, maybe 70% alumni at this point, and they come from all over the country. Which is interesting because we want a group of people from Cleveland because to respond, you know, away from the board meeting times, but we also want representatives from all over the country and, quite frankly, from the world. We have a board member that I can think of off the top of my head that comes from Japan, and he actually makes the meetings, believe it or not. Not all of them, but a goodly number of them. We meet 3 times a year as a whole board. We meet typically on Friday and Saturday morning. We try to do that so that the folks coming from out of town can miss as little of their active work day as possible. And then we have committees several committees. I mentioned a couple already that meet sort of monthly, a lot of times by phone, but a lot of times in person. The Friday of board meeting day tends to be committee day until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon when we convene the full board to meet. Now, what do? We are responsible for the oversight of the university, for the well-being of the university. So we get into almost every facet of the university. We approve the budget, we establish policies, we appoint the leaders of the university, and yes, we do approve tuition increases. By the same token, we also approve construction projects, and in every major financial decision of the university we're involved with. And we also track fundraising extremely carefully. So one of our major committees, one that probably has more board members than anybody else on it, is our development committee, and they're keenly interested in fundraising, because that's really the piece that, you know, you get 3 pieces of revenue in the school: tuition, research, and philanthropy. So that's the third leg of the stool that's critically important to the place. One of the things we don't get real involved with, hardly involved at all, is curriculum. That really is a domain of the faculty, and the faculty pretty much is responsible for curriculum. I would say that's largely true with the administration also. They get, through the provost, maybe a little more involved than the board gets, but the board is very, very uninvolved in the curriculum of the place. Although for the well-being of the university, again, we're responsible for that. If we think there's some major gap there, we'll start to put some pressure to try to fix that gap, if you will. Okay, I guess the last point I want to make involves the university center. Katie and I made a major gift, my wife and I made a major gift to the school that's going to be used for the Build the University Center. And it is one of our top priorities. We have 2 or 3 top construction priorities right now, but that is one of the very, very, very top ones. We are getting very, very close to having raised enough money to begin construction on that center. We're not quite prepared to announce it tonight, but we're getting very, very close, trust me. In fact, I know of a dinner I'm going to later this week that will honor the folks that are involved with it, and we're getting real close. You will be one of the first to know when we announce it, believe me. I think with that, I think I've said just about everything I wanted to say, and let's talk.
Great. And I will be happy to call on our representatives for you.
People for us.
So thank you guys so much. Does anyone have any questions for our speakers? Don't be shy. Representative Ateshelu?
How do you anticipate that the student center will impact students beyond just having a gathering place?
Well, it's going to be the home for the student organizations, and one of the things we're hoping is that because they will all be together in one place, that there will be even greater collaboration among the various student groups than we currently have. It's a challenge with academic programs too, spread all over the campus. We find when you're able to get people together, it really does spark more working together. You just will be running into each other in that wonderful space. So more than just a gathering place, but a place that we hope will spark students working together. And we're going to do some special things when we design it. One of the things we're going to make sure we have, I've been disappointed that there isn't really a place for our students who work in the fine arts. We've been talking about the performing arts in the last couple of weeks, but our students who work in the fine arts, whether it's painting or graphic arts, and there are a variety of things that we have students involved in, we don't really have any place to showcase their work that many people will see. And so we will be designing the building to accommodate some display space so that we can showcase some of the great things that our students are doing. So when your colleagues come in, and there'll be spaces where we will be hosting events and community sorts of things. So we hope lots of people will come in and see those things. So it will be a space for the students, but will also be a space where others will come and see what the students are doing.
Keep in mind, it's going to be, at this point, it's planned to be pretty much near the center, geographic center of the campus too. So not only will it be a gathering place, but it'll be a convenient gathering place to kind of bridge the gaps between the north and south campus, and et cetera.
I should mention too, there will be food. I should probably have said that in the beginning. There will be food service there.
Right. Vice President Thompson?
I know this is probably taking a backseat to the University Center, obviously, but are there any current plans to continue with the North Campus renovation with regards to the residence hall?
Yes, as we are able to find funding to be able to do that, absolutely. I think one of the things ultimately we would like to do, and this isn't a short-term thing, so it won't happen in your time with us, but we do believe in the residential college system that we have, but our facilities don't really support that in the way that they could if we had built that part of the residence halls when we were thinking about the residential colleges. That actually came long after those buildings were built. So ultimately, we would like to have facilities that allow people who are in residential colleges to really be living together instead of a bit, so you're all together geographically in one sense, but literally in a real living, learning college. So someday that's something we would like to do.
I should explain a little bit how projects get shovel ready, start the digging. And we have lots of, I've been on campus planning for, I think I've been a board member for about 10 or 12 years, and I'm on campus planning ever since I've been on the board, which worries about physical stuff. And I was on the planning committee when we did the North Residential Village. And you know, the chairman of those committees are always saying we need to prioritize so that we can get things that we think are really important, you know, prioritized, and that's what we should spend their time on. And to a large extent we do. But I got to tell you, if a donor comes along and says, gee, I'd like to build a field house, and here's the money to do it, guess what happens? If it's somewhere in that list of things we want to do, even if it's down here, it moves very much to the top of the list. So there is yes, there's a pecking order, but funding for the pecking order is quite important. It tends to be a little bit of exasperating for the committee and for the people that run facilities, but you know, if somebody's willing to write a check that's going to build something, it's hard to say no.
Vice President Weber?
I'm a business major, so I'm curious if there's any comparability between being president or chairman of the board of trustees and running a company, and if there's any crossover between those two things.
That's a great question.
That's a good question. You know, I'm a banker by profession, so I'm kind of wondering how I ended up doing all this university stuff. There clearly is a crossover. I think that your business experience, especially as you get into a leadership role, I mean, running a meeting is running a meeting, no matter what the subject matter is, and there are management issues that come up that need addressing, whether it be a university kind of issues or business kind of issues. Budget's a great example. I mean, this place needs to have, this place or any place needs to have budgets and needs to have fiscal responsibility. And you know, my experience in running a company directly relates, transfers over to that. A few years back when we had some issues with budgetary problems, I can tell you that the CFOs of the various businesses in town and that were on the board got very, very involved in trying to see what was going on. So yeah, there's a direct cross.
Thanks. Representative Baisley.
First, I just want to say that I think we're all very excited for the University Center, and as students, we appreciate so much the funds, the donations, and everything, because I mean that's what makes it happen. We're all very excited. I'm excited to see 4 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever, come back and see it. But my question has to do with, I know you said you're not involved in curriculum, but I know a lot of departments, especially engineering, regarding the faculty, recruiting faculty, a lot are hoping to get more faculty in the years to come. So is the Board of Trustees involved in recruiting faculty at all?
That's a great question. I'll answer a little bit and then I'll let Barbara answer some more of it. we are involved, we're concerned about the well-being of the university. So to the extent that we are advised of holes in faculty, we're very concerned about that. And in fact, we have an initiative going on right now in engineering that maybe Barbara wants to expand on a little bit.
It's an area where we have been concerned because of the losses in the number of faculty over a period of time. And the size of the faculty in a particular discipline actually relates to rankings, in part because the way other experts in the field think of us has to do with their perception of our breadth and depth. And some of that actually does have to do with whether we have not just great people, we need them, but you need to have enough of them. You can't just have a couple, especially in disciplines where the expectation is broader. And so we did go to the board and say we're concerned that we haven't done enough in this area and that we've lost too many people and we need to do a little bit of rebuilding. We've got some great people but need to have some more of them. And so we do have an initiative going with engineering in particular right now. All of our schools are recruiting all the time, and it is a constant process. Actually, this year, next year, we expect to still be relatively good years for recruiting because a lot of places that are really cutting back because of the challenges they faced economically. We're in a better position right now, and we are going forward with hiring. So we're hoping to be on the side of the I like to say the cherry picker instead of the picky, which we've been far too often.
I was just going to bring that up, that because of what we experienced a few years ago budgetary-wise, and the fact that we've come out of that in the back end at this point, we're in far better shape than most of our peer institutions are. And Bud Basilick actually made a presentation to the board about doing some cherry picking, and this is a great time to be able to go out and grab maybe whole departments and things, and get some more all-star faculty in. So we're very much aware of that, and that is one thing that the board does pay attention to. We don't pay as much attention to whether, what the exact, say, curriculum should be, whether we should be offering a certain physics program or something like that. That's really the faculty. But to get those people involved that can make those decisions, that comes back under our purview.
Representative Hamilton?
Do you foresee having a student on the board of trustees?
That's an interesting question, and it has come up from time to time. John Carroll does have a student representative on their board, and it's just something that we've talked about. We haven't acted on it yet. I personally think it would probably be a good idea, but I'm just one voice that's out there. So, but that's something that we do tend to talk to from time to time, and I can see from my experience being on the board of John Carroll, I think it's a good idea. Now I'm not the sayer in that, but I think it's not a bad idea.
Representative Lupton?
One of the other things I should mention that is probably not a bad idea is to have some younger graduates on the board also, say folks that have been out less than 5 years. And one of the ways that might be done is you have a slot for them, and when they turned a certain age, they would rotate off the board. You'd get a new person to replace them, but that would be very age specific, where you'd sit there and say, we want somebody under, pick a number, 35 or something like that, and their term would be less than 4 or 5 years. Maybe our terms are 4-year terms. We have 3 4-year terms before we're term limited out. We have an age limit and a term limit, and we adopted that probably 7 or 8 years ago. So there's some phasing in going on right now, but basically anybody who comes on the board today cannot stand for re-election if they're 75. I know in this group that sounds really, really old, but we don't want people on the board basically either sleeping at the board meetings or being on the board forever and ever. So 12 years is a limit, and there might be some rationale into having a certain group on the board below a certain age. Obviously, there's a lot of different things you look for when you're recruiting a board, especially a board of 45 people, which is a very, very large board. And not the least of which, quite frankly, is philanthropy. I mean, you know, some of the folks that they're on the board are, you know, they typically would have some other things that would recommend them to be on the board, but they also have some ability to write some checks. And then some folks don't have any ability to write checks on the board, you know, so it's a potpourri.
Representative Lupton.
You spoke of fundraising being very important at the university. There's the most trustees doing, I believe you said that, about fundraising. My question is, you know, I've been doing a lot of fundraising for like Relay for Life, and I ask people, you know, for like $100 contributions, and it's just ask nicely. How's fundraising on such a huge level? Is it just simply asking nicely?
It's asking nicely, and I would suggest that our chief fundraiser is sitting right next to him.
It's a little more involved than that. But we work very hard, and actually that gives me a good opening to say that especially this last year, but really since I got here, we have substantially ramped up the efforts in that area, and we are doing a lot more. We are doing a lot more to try to connect people to the university, and that means a lot more events that we're hosting. And we don't quite have the staff to pull it off, and we are so fortunate to have the Turning Point Society, which is a group of student volunteers who I cannot tell you how many times they have saved the day when we've had events that are quite larger than our staff could manage if we just had them. So we have really been lucky to have that student group. They have gotten much more active in the last couple of years, and we have called on them much more actively for help, and so that has made a difference as well, because most of our donors are really interested in students one way or another, and they love seeing students at our events, and to know that our students would be willing to volunteer their time to help in that way has made a huge difference. It is different when you're asking somebody for $1 million or $5 million or $12 million or $20 million. Having done all of those things, it's not quite the same as, you know, as asking somebody for a smaller contribution to something as critical as Relay for Life, and that is a wonderful thing that you're working on. So I would say you might have a future in development. Keep us in mind in a few years, because we're looking for people who aren't afraid to ask for a great cause. And I get asked a lot, maybe you do, isn't it hard to ask people for money? I say, not at all. I truly believe in what we're doing at Case Western Reserve. And if you believe it's important, and you do for Relay for Life, it isn't hard to ask people for their support at all. I hope you're finding the same thing.
Follow-up question. How do we say, I see in the Case Daily a lot, there's you know, a donor, they've just donated $1 million for a certain cause, but you know, you click on the link and you can never find the contact information to them to say thank you. So I think it would be really meaningful if students could say thank you to these donors, but I'm not real sure how.
So we don't give out the contact information of our donors, so you won't be able to click on a link and get their address or anything. But we do two things. One is if students generally want to say thank you, they can get in touch with us, and we'll pass the word along. If it's a letter, we'll make sure that it gets delivered. The other thing is that we do, when you are a student here and you have a scholarship that was donated by a donor, we have worked very hard in the last couple of years. The information loop was not very good when I first got here, but we really try to connect those students to those donors. And we sometimes will host events where we bring the student and the donor together so that they get to see each other. At a minimum, we really ask the students to help communicate with a letter to the donor, and we try to help make that happen, make it easy for that to happen, so that the donor gets to hear from you as a student, you know, how meaningful this particular gift was. And then at our big annual event, we're having it coming up on May 3rd, but we have a big event for donors. We do a video, we've already done it, I've seen it, and we get students to give thank you messages to donors, not by name, but just say, your scholarship meant a lot, here's what it enabled me to do. And we videotape them and show them to our donors at those kind of events, and those are really, really meaningful.
Michelle Fritz has actually been kind enough to invite all of us to Momentum, so we will see you there.
Well, great. I'm looking forward to having you. This will be a wonderful event on May 3rd.
Yes. Representative Brubaker?
Earlier you mentioned the expansion of the faculty in the program in the School of Engineering. I was wondering if the board was looking into expanding other programs that maybe cases and has noted for across the nation.
Well, we have a strategic plan that Barbara can expand on a little bit more, but we've identified several areas where we want to exceed and improve in excellence. And so they're not all in engineering, obviously. So there are several other areas that we're, it's part of this. It's a campus-wide strategic plan and initiative that's going on.
And all 4 of the key areas cross disciplinary boundaries. And you will see faculty added in those areas and others that are strategically important. Each school has its own strategic plan, and they identified things that were important to them too. I think engineering was particularly important just because of the losses that had been suffered and the concern that would continue to have an impact on the rankings of the school, which feed into the rankings of the university and ultimately to the perceived value of your diplomas. And that's part of our trust, is to make sure that that continues to be very valuable and even increasingly valuable as time goes on.
Parliamentarian Agarwal?
Hello, Chairman and President Snetter. I was wondering if the board is receptive and intends to use or request student input in the design of the new campus center, and if so, how much weight will student input have in the final design?
I think that that's critically important through the and that the way it should feed up is be through the various committees. Student Life Committee would be the one that should have input into that and try to interface with the administration and you folks, to make sure that we're designing the right thing. So yeah, it's something like a student life center is critically important that we get input from the students.
And just one more specific thing to add to that, there will be a student on the architect selection committee. So there will be a student represented, and we will expect the student to be communicating with you so that dialogue can go both ways. And the most involved committee, as our board chair mentioned, is academic affairs and student life, in terms of the design of the student center and how that will be first conceptualized and then executed. So they will, and students meet with that committee every single time it meets.
Ms. Wade?
In your introduction, you spoke about 2 or 3 construction projects, one being the student center. What are the others that you
Well, one of the ones that a lot of us walk by almost every day is the Uptown project, and that thing has had a life of its own, but it is getting close. So that is a project that is. We don't have a groundbreaking date for that yet, but we're awfully close to it. I think we've just about dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's we need to do to get that. And we're working that in conjunction with a outside developer or partner. The other is the temple, which it's a fabulous facility, and I was very impressed when I went in there, and to me it was like going into the front door of Severance, and the idea to be able to take what is really a very vital building in Cleveland and to preserve it, to rehab it, and to make it fuller than it really has been even, is just a terrific opportunity, and it's going to be very, very helpful for our our arts and science folks. I mean, it's just it needs some modifications, but you can readily see the hope that building can turn into. So that's an exciting project. And we're always kind of looking at what's going on in West Quad, which is, I don't think there's anything that's getting ready to break ground tomorrow afternoon, but that it's a little bit removed from the campus itself, but you know, it's something that you know that's out there. We did complete a master plan of the university not that long ago, and you know, there's some ideas that came out about what the K squad should look like and that sort of thing. So, you know, there's these major things. We think of the three biggies, you know, but then there's some other smaller stuff that, again, if a donor comes along, and we should have an announcement of something going on over at North Residential Village, which I'm not going to spill the beans at right now, but there's something that's, I would put not in the major category, but that probably will sneak in ahead of the campus, you know, the student centers, for instance.
Excellent. Vice President Nguyen.
I would just like to know, in kind of planning for the future of the university, what would you say are the three major steps that the university will be taking to kind of attain and maintain national, maybe even international prominence?
Our strategic plan is all about that. I think the ways in which we are trying to improve our academic stature, we are already, as you know, in the AAU, which is the top 60 research universities in the United States. We follow our rankings closely. We care about them, not because we agree that they're methodologically wonderful, they're flawed, but because we know they influence prospective students. And they sell so many copies of U.S. News and World Report. When that issue comes out, you would be putting your head in the sand not to understand that that really matters. So really, everything in the strategic plan is directed toward improving things for people who are here now and will be here in the future, including our rankings. It's not only about that, but our stature matters. And I think it matters to you, and it certainly matters to us, and we think it influences the choices of students down the line, and we want to continue to get the students like the ones we have now. And it takes constant hard work, and you can never rest on your laurels.
I should just give you an example of something that happened a couple years ago that reinforces what Barbara was saying. We were at about this point in time in the year, maybe a little bit later, when the undergraduate acceptances were coming in. And Barbara decided to take a firm stand and accept a few less students, which we were keenly interested in the budgetary impacts. But she says, we're going to accept a few less students because we're going to have higher SAT scores, and I'm willing to sacrifice some numbers for quality, in effect. And you know, I think that that's a great example of where you know, she's always worried about that. And you know, she called me up and says, what do you think about that? And I'm thinking, I don't know, Barbara. You know, we've got some budgetary problems, but she convinced me that it was a good idea, so I think it was. So.
I think it's worked out.
Yeah, it has.
Because we have another record year of applications this year.
Vice President-elect Maloney.
Just building on something you were saying earlier, what are some of the long-term goals for West Campus? Like what is going to be located there? Like where do you see that going?
Well, obviously we will have the temple there, which will be part of that campus ultimately. So part of it will be the home of the performing arts, or some of them, because we will still have Eldred and some things over here as well. But that will be a big part of the performing arts. And then we have the building that's currently there, the only building that currently exists on the former Mount Sinai property, which I think went up in 2005 and is a relatively small building that is shared by the Fuel Cell Center, which is part of the School of Engineering, and the Cleveland Center for Structural Biology, which is part of the School of Medicine and is a shared program that includes our clinical partners as well. So we will be working hard on a plan for the West Campus and be asking somebody to take the lead on that, because it's really important to have somebody be in charge of that instead of just having a lot of people in charge of that. And we will be looking to develop that, as the Campus Planning Committee has already begun to work on it, with an eye toward making the very best use of that land that we can, in ways that are synergistic with the goals that are in the strategic plan.
I should point out that one of the things that we have in the Temple proposal, the planning committee has spent a fair amount of time thinking about the fact that that physical area is kind of remote from the campus, but it's not that remote. If you start drawing circles around, you know, how long it takes to walk from, say, the Senator campus, it's surprisingly that it's fairly close. But the linkage is not there. So one of the things that we've looked at is bridges and pedestrian walkways to bridge some of that traffic to make it more accessible, if you will. So that's very high up on the. I think what you're getting here is that we know we've got a large tract of land there, and we're not quite 100% gelled on what exactly is the best, highest and best use for it. But we know we need to get connectivity to it. So no matter what we put there is going to need connectivity to get back to the main part of the campus.
Time for one final question. Vice President Weber.
Cleveland as a city is changing a lot. So where do you see the school role in that, or if there is any?
Oh, that's a great question. I look at it, and one of the reasons, you know, I said I don't know how I ended up spending time in universities when I spent all my career in banking. But to me, you know, a big part of the future of Cleveland is what's happening here on University Circle. And you know, you got three major institutions right here. You got UH, and you got the clinic, and you have us. And we're the glue that provides the linkage to those other two institutions. So, you know, a lot of what we do, we haven't talked about this, is how do we get more job creation? How do we do incubators to get startup firms and that sort of thing? Because when you're doing the amount of research, and we are a very, very major research institution, and bring in, you know, at any given year it changes, but $400 million plus of research money per year. And, you know, we want to make sure there's a lot of spin-offs coming out of that. So to me, the catalyst to University Circle is really Case Western Reserve. And by, you know, extension, really one of the great hopes that the city of Cleveland has going forward. And that's, quite frankly, one of the reasons why I am sitting here. You know, I think it's important that we figure out how to replace some of those industries that have gone the way of buggy whips, and do the new stuff that's coming along. And because of the amount of research dollars that we do a year, we're right in the center of that. And I mean, we spend lots of time with all these other little things, you know, that jumpstart institutions, and Barbara's on a half a dozen boards of things that are strictly in there to try to create jobs and be incubators for future companies and things.
And I would say our greatest asset to the community actually is all of you, and what you leave us with, and we hope what you take with you. And we think that is good for Cleveland, even for those of you who don't end up staying in Cleveland. We still think a positive experience that you take away with you really helps our city and its reputation in the university in the long run. And I'll close just by reminding you all that we are so lucky to have a board chair who not only is a great leader and who was very involved in the community when he was the CEO of Charter One Bank, but has continued to do that even since he retired. And what an amazing gift to the campus center to get your board chair and his wife to say, yes, we'll help, $5 million will help.
Barbara twists a lot on it.
I must just say thank you. This is certainly an iconic General Assembly for us to have both of you here. We hope that this is a tradition that next year's Assembly, the 20th Assembly, can continue. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now move into board reports. President Pinder. These will be kept very brief, as our executive committee has been gracious enough to write very thorough written reports this week. So, President Pinder.
So, thank you all so much. You guys were phenomenal. The depth and the breadth of your questions was mind-blowing. extremely, extremely excited. I think we put a really great face on USG, not only USG, but the undergraduate student body to the two most powerful people at our university. So thank you once again. A round of applause for yourself, okay? As Bruce mentioned, everything's in my board report. I'm open to points.
Thank you, President Binder. Vice President Nguyen.
Okay, so I'll mention two things that kind of just popped out before or after I've written my board report. You guys can read everything else there, it's very thorough. But two other things that the Student Life Committee will be working on this Thursday we'll be referring back to the amnesty initiative that USG wrote a resolution for 3 years ago. It was in my belief that this had already been drafted and was, I guess, initiated, but I guess it's still a draft. So that's something that we'll be looking at and we'll be having discussion about. The other topic we'll be kind of having a discussion or conversation would be towards the meal plan situation that is going on. If you feel inclined to come to the committee, it is at 6 p.m. in the USG office. I am welcoming everybody to please come and state your opinions. All right, thank you. Open to points.
Any questions? Presenter O'Brien.
What's the amnesty initiative? I'm not familiar with it.
This is the, when you are trying to help out a friend, say, and you're both induced by, alcohol or whatnot, it's the, I guess, medical initiative to kind of say you are protected from any kind of prohibitory,
I got you.
So that's 3 years ago, I can't remember.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Yes,
Colleen?
It is archived. It was not passed, so I don't know if it was put in, but I'm sure it must be on the website somewhere.
From what I know, that there's a draft, that the university has a draft of this plan. However, it's not been voted on, nor has it been looked at in a while. So that we're revisiting this draft. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Vice President Weber.
It's all in there, but you guys know it's a big weekend for the Finance Committee, so I hope we can get some help on Saturday. I know Faith and JLN helped last time, so you don't need the Finance Committee deep experience to be able to lend a hand. It'll go a long way. Thanks.
What time would that be on Saturday?
9:30 a.m.
It's a trick question. It was all of Saturday. President Binder.
I do want to point out that this is the first paperless mass funding process.
Woo! Presenter Lupton.
Can you speak on how it's going so far?
It's going well.
How's that for politics? Treasurer Shah. I don't know. There you are.
Yeah, everything's all written down on open points.
Colleen.
So can you and I chat after the meeting? I had a clarifying question. I forgot to ask you.
Excellent. Vice President Wang.
Things on my board report. Feel free to come to my meeting tomorrow at 7 to talk to the individuals about stages.
Ooh. Any questions for Vice President Wang? Thank you. Vice President Sanford.
No report, open points.
Vice President Thompson.
IT committee will be meeting next Monday, even though it's inauguration. We'll just be meeting at 5:30 instead of 6.
Any questions? We just did board reports in 4.5 minutes. I'm just going to ask if any caucus has a report to give. Anything pressing for the next week? Excellent. Keep up the good work. At this time, we are in old business. Does anyone have any old business to propose? Seeing none, for the last time, I'm going to open nominations for the School of Engineering representative. I'm presuming our nomination from last week did not carry through. Because we have a vacancy, we have to try and fill it. Actually, no, we can't, because we can't vote on this, because inauguration's Monday. Nominations are not open for the School of Engineering representative because we will have a new General Assembly on Monday. Yes.
If the candidate's present, can't we vote on them today?
No, because it has to be open for a week once
And
they're
that has to be
nominated.
tabled for a week.
Is that open? But they have to have a week.
be
We're not voting. We're not voting. I said no.
They need to sign a letter of intent.
Yes, there needs to be a letter of intent. Senator O'Brien.
So
Hey.
for next week, that's the 2010-11 General Assembly.
That's correct.
Okay,
Well, go ahead.
Let me ask a clarification. So, the terms do not end until May 1st. So, the reason why we're having inauguration early is so we can elect a speaker. So, the only time that the 2010-2011 General Assembly will be voting will be to nominate a speaker and to elect a speaker. Everything else, all the business, the legislation, everything else is going to be up to 2009-2010 Assembly. So it's extremely important that if you are not returning to USG next year for any reason, that you do still keep your commitments for the rest of this month, okay?
So they won't be able to vote, they'll be able to vote on things for their assembly, but not ours. So all of our legislation, we still have to pass. Anything that starts out with a 19. Is that clear? Is that good? So do we need to open nominations? We're not doing it. We are in new business. Does anyone have any new business to propose? Liars. Someone has something to propose. Representative Moeller.
Motion to introduce Bill B, 19-10.
Is there a second? Is there a speaker in the pro? Take it away.
Should I just do it from my seat?
You should do it
I
from
like
there.
coming up here. Okay, hi everyone, very quickly. 19-10, this is a bill that we usually introduce every year. It just kind of clarifies our constituencies for the next General Assembly. We have these bills because it's kind of like a firm, setting it in stone and telling you guys how we decide how many reps we have and where we get this information. We get the information from the registrar, and like in our constitution it says for every 100 students there needs to be a rep, so we do the math and they are listed there under the be enacted, the number of reps that we have. And so yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'm open to points.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a speaker in the con? Okay. Seeing none, we are going to open discussion. Representative Perlowski.
I'm just curious, why do we pass this after we've already held the elections?
The math was done beforehand, so we made sure we had the correct number of reps, but the legislation was written afterwards. So this is consistent with the number of reps we've elected.
Representative Lupton.
Yeah, with each of the 9 freshman ones, isn't it true that there's 1,000? Oh, never mind.
Representative Baisley.
Was the previous question?
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then just on the presented line to 6th grade till December.
Friendly?
Yes, friendly.
Okay. There's been a motion to previous question. All in favor of voting, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Okay. Please hold on. Are they coming?
No response.
If anyone feels so inclined, I would entertain a motion to recess for 5 minutes in hopes that one of our representatives answers a phone call and can make it here, because we are one shy of quorum. Someone has to make that motion, though. Representative Pulaski?
Motion to recess for 5 minutes.
Is there a second? Second. Okay. See you in 5.
Dwayne,
One.
I thought we were introducing it next week.
No, I mean,
Yeah, my bad. I'd already sent it to him.
You would have had to do it at attendance.
Had it during attendance.
I didn't even think about that. Well, because I didn't get a chance to do, supposedly Katie is on her way.
She'll be on her way.
I don't know where.
Fatty.
None of the nursing caucus is
She's
here.
coming
The
at
whole nursing
8:15. Like her exam gets out at
Ben,
8.
you know you can be off right now, right? Oh, I mean, like, you don't have to record right now. Or you can record a logo. We're not doing
Yeah,
anything
it
for
has
another
to be
4
during
minutes.
roll call.
That's something else.
Peter's at a test.
Super serious Shangbo phone call.
Divya, can we discuss the other bills and legislations until we have quorum and we can vote that, or do we have to? Can we table it until we have quorum?
That's a good question, as the speaker. You can definitely, you can talk about anything you want, you just can't vote on it until people are here.
Can we table the voting until we have quorum to talk about the other two legislations? Because, I mean, if they just got out
In theory, we can table.
Table for like 10 minutes.
Table until we have quorum.
I mean, you can I don't think there's anything in the rules about tabling and then, we're not in session, you can just yell. Who is?
Katie Haas is coming in pajamas.
When will she be? Why wasn't she here in the first place? So are Katie and Peter coming?
Their test is over at 8, and I know for a fact
wasn't here earlier.
she even like brought a change of clothes. Anthony's coming.
Anthony's. All right, so we're gonna have plenty of people, and I don't feel bad that all of these people are showing up late because they should have been here all along. Apparently, Peter and Katie Zoltan are supposed to be here. Katie Haas is on her way in pajamas. We're gonna be okay. Anthony should still come though. I am not ignoring you. We're going to talk after the meeting. Is there any, I mean, I don't think there's anything that says we can't table something for a period of time. And in theory, we would just have to do a speaker on the pro again.
I mean, at this point, if we start talking about another legislation and then they walk in and people like that.
We need a rep who can do this. 30 seconds. I'm starting. What? Yeah, he'll be.
Oh, by the way, I don't know who she could have possibly talked to in the new exec board. She didn't talk to me. She didn't talk to me. She's talking to Jackie.
Then someone, and then someone's gonna have to remove it from the table later. We gotta figure it out. Please take your seats. We are going to go back to Bill B 19-10. Representative Brolowski.
Bill B 19-10.
Oh.
Is there a second?
Whoa, no.
Second.
I got somebody coming.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all the stuff.
Okay, if you
Second.
As a point of information, bill can be removed from the table at any time. So we can revisit this bill if and when we do get quorum. Otherwise, it will be tabled until next week. So there has been a second. All in favor of tabling Bill B 19-10, please signify by raising your hand. Up high. All opposed. Excellent. We are in new business. Bill B 19-10 has been tabled. Representative Pulaski.
Move to introduce General Assembly Bill B 19.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Speaker in the pro, Vice President Weber.
So this is the budget bill. It is in the same format as it's been presented previously, so you guys hopefully are starting to recognize some things. The key number that I want to point out is $125,000. That's how much Finance Committee is going to allocate this weekend, saving between about 115 up front and then saving 10,000, maybe more for appeals, which will occur the following week. Beyond that, we've increased, we've done some budgetary analysis and increased line items that need to be increased and reduced ones where we aren't spending as much, just so we are most accurately illustrating actual costs. Estimating $10,000 rollover, which is lowballing it, but better to be on the safe side because this is the same time when when the deficit that affected last semester occurred this time last year. So we want to leave next year's group not in that position. Open points.
Vice President Wang. Acknowledged. Representative Mueller.
In the budget where it has line items and the description, should it say like max funding for fall 2010?
I apologize. Yes, it should.
Okay.
Excellent. Vice President Thompson.
I noticed the copy costs are now $1,700. I believe that's an increase from $1,500. Is that correct?
Repeat.
The copy costs are $1,700 now.
Yes.
That increase from $1,500.
Yes.
Could you speak to why, especially with the new paper saving initiatives that your students undertake?
There are a lot of paper not printed in the agendas.
But even with, say, like mass funding and paperless.
I think that reflects the usage that we've experienced this semester.
Okay.
Colleen.
These also factor in the cost of copies in general. So all the student orgs that come in and use it. Although Jason will charge 8 amps, what they, with them.
So that covers all student groups, not just USG.
Exactly. It's the cost of the copy. It's fairly pure, right? You get
Representative Lupton.
Can you speak on the USG morale, $300? What specifically has come out of that in the past?
I can't really comment. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I think it's something that I would like to see in the future it used more. Excellent. It's kind of it's up to, I guess, Vice President of Public Relations, I would imagine.
Vice President Sanford.
USG morale, a lot of the times that's your t-shirts that GA gets, or that also helps out with your retreat, the binders, so all of your rapid development materials, that's what the morale part of the budget wants you this year.
Excellent. Representative Teschelin.
Which line items specifically were increased from last year?
We're looking at the welcome back dance was increased, I want to say $500, not because it's the costs have increased. Rather, we want to proactively improve this event and make it a better experience for not only the new students, but upperclassmen as well. And that's going to be questions that are addressed over the summer. But the bottom line is making that event more fun for everybody involved. Student activities guides have been increased. It's going to be up to next exec to determine what they want to do with this, but just to give them more flexibility, because if you print the physical copies, it's expensive, and there's a lot of options in terms of color printing and binding and deadlines and things. So just giving them more flexibility to make a great resource for new students to have. The fall retreat has been increased by $500. This is to give more opportunity to do better events at the fall retreat. A high ropes course has been mentioned. I don't want to speculate on what is going to be planned next semester, but having more fun things to do. Compared to this semester, this current semester we're in, public relations initiatives has been doubled to $1,500. I think that's about it.
Okay. Representative Baisley? We do. You cannot. Are there any other questions for the speaker?
We're not voting on this tonight. Next week.
Yes. Any other questions for the speaker? Okay. Is there a speaker on the con? Seeing none, we will open discussion. As a reminder of parliamentary procedure, this bill cannot be voted on tonight. It must be tabled until next week. Representative Lupton?
Do you do amendments tonight or no?
You can.
Move to make an amendment, or move to amend. Second page, Pizza Olympics. I think it's the fourth page. You're right. So,
Friendly. Excellent.
Thanks.
Any other points for discussion? Vice President Thompson?
Move to amend on the breakdown. The second and third item should be fall 2010.
Friendly?
Any other points for discussion?
You want to really,
Colleen?
in terms of healing, you might notice the operating expense for the student organizations
I think that's a good idea.
instead of the office.
Friendly.
So what was the proposed amendment for our secretary?
The operating expense for student organizations.
Okay. Okay. Any other points for discussion? Not, I will entertain a motion to table until next week. Representative Mueller?
Motion to table.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Motion carries. Bill B 19-11 is tabled. Floor is open for new business. Representative Downey.
Not trying to say it, but to remove from the table, Bill B-10, 19-10.
Is there a second? Excellent. Is there a speaker in the pro with anything in addition to say to his previous address? There needs to be a speaker to the pro to at least be open to points.
Should I go up again? Should I say something again?
Are you open to points?
Am I open to points? Open to points?
Okay. Thank you. Is there a speaker in the con? Discussion is open. Reminder, this is a bill to introduce the total number of representatives for next year and the format of the assembly. Representative Mueller. Close. You moved to previous question. Is there a second? All right, all in favor? Opposed? Okay. We will now vote on Bill B 19-10 as amended. All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Voting members of the assembly only. All opposed? Abstentions? Bill carries. Is there any other new business? Representative Perlowski?
Move to introduce resolution R19-12.
Is there a second? Excellent. Is there a speaker in the pro? Representative Perlowski? Just trucking along right now. This is awesome. This is what quorum will do for you. What? That's not me. That's quorum. Quorum makes that happen.
So this resolution is pretty basic if you read through it. It's to recommend that all campus residence halls, as well as campus-owned Greek housing, have 2 easily accessible card readers, so that no student's ever in a position where if they come to their door and there's someone, some kind of situation going on, that they don't have an access point to get into their res hall, especially after midnight, whenever it's not like you can go into another residence hall that's next door. So it's kind of a safety issue first. There's convenience that arises out of it, but it's coming from the standpoint of student safety. So I'm open to points.
Any questions for the speaker? Thank you, Representative. Is there a speaker in the con? Seeing none, we will open discussion. Are there any points for discussion on Resolution R19-12? Representative Hoffman?
Delta Gamma just got a second card reader recently, and it's been really nice because our first card reader was like accessible, but it was kind of like around the corner, and like you couldn't see if someone was standing there. Like there was no other access point to the house really, and so we got a second one like on the complete other side of the building. So it's been really nice just to know that there's another point that you can get into the building.
Vice President Thompson?
You know, if housing has money that goes, that are pretty expensive.
Representative Pulaski?
We had talked about it at administrator speed dating with almost Amy, and she was very open to talking about it, but did initiate that it was expensive. But the way in which Delta Gamma got our card reader was putting in a maintenance request. So they obviously do have the capacity to do it, and I think that expense always comes secondary to some safety.
Vice President Nguyen?
I actually just recently had this discussion as well with Landon Force of Student Affairs. It would actually be a lot cheaper than just say installing a card reader on a building that doesn't have one initially. This is for the Southside residence halls, and they already have an access point there. So it's just a means of kind of taking that wire into another location, and we have a separate card reader there. So it's even cheaper than what we actually do.
Representative Downey?
I guess, is the idea with the second card reader on the south side residence halls, is it just on the other side of the building? Is that all you're meaning? Okay, I wasn't sure if you mean on the other side.
Representative Brubaker?
My understanding is that this resolution includes the north side dorms as well. Is that correct?
It's all campus residence halls.
Excellent.
Okay.
Vice President Nguyen?
I move to amend to change April 13th on the date presented, as well as the bottom of the footer to April 6th.
Is that friendly? Other points for discussion? Representative Perlowski? Yes.
Move to amend whereas clause 3 to strike the last phrase impeding them from accessing other residence halls in case of emergency.
Okay. Any other points for discussion? Representative Perlowski?
I would also like to amend the next to last whereas clause for it to say, but only one access point at ground level.
Excellent. Any other points for discussion? Vice President Nguyen? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, we'll now vote on Resolution R19-12 as amended. All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Abstentions? Resolution R19-12 passes. And we voted. Representative O'Brien? Acknowledged. Representative O'Brien, if you would be so kind as to let Representative Zoltan in on your way out, so she can participate in open forum at the least. The floor is open. Anyone have any point? President Pinder.
Okay, so as you see my board report, SEC made a decision to remove 19% of the revised budget. So if the speaker will allow maybe 3 minutes, if there are any clarifying questions, you guys can read it now, and then if you have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for President Pinder regarding the SEC allocation changes? Representative Teshalu.
I just want to clarify, so all the money that was removed from Read Life is being redistributed to study over?
Correct.
Representative Lupton.
Was it even unanimous vote?
Everything's done by secret ballot, so all we know is the result.
Can you reiterate the result again? I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
So all we know is the decision. We don't know how the numbers. So we don't know if it's unanimous or not. It's not a secret ballot.
But out of the 7 organizations, out of the 7 votes, like, did you know the percent?
You know if it passes or doesn't.
It passes, that's all we have. Yes.
I believe those motions have to carry by 2/3. So.
But we don't know if it's unanimous or not.
Right. But so you're aware. Representative Pulaski.
I'm just curious, I know that because it's only 19% of the funding, it doesn't have to be approved by the student body. And with it being a secret vote and everything, I'm just wondering what your opinion is on that, and why does it not have to be approved by the student body? Like, what are those set specifications where it becomes too much or too little?
So there is no kind of set limit. All decisions that SEC makes are up to student referendum. So again, if students aren't satisfied with the decision, the students can kind of initiate a referendum and vote on it to overturn that decision. But there isn't a set limit of money. There is kind of a threshold that was in this SEC's mind of over 50% of the budget is too big for us as a body of less than 10 students to make decisions. So it should go to students. But there isn't anything in our Constitution. Just to give some background, it was the Greek Life representatives did a really good deep dive of their budgets, and it was presented to SEC that they had substantial rollover, approximately $80,000. So which is twice their allocation, their semesterly allocation. So that's, I think, the main reason why myself and Max voted to cut an allocation, because you wouldn't see any drop in Greek Life's funding or budget because they have such a substantial rollover. So the 19% just wouldn't come student activities money. It will come from the rollover that they've saved up over 20 years.
SEC uses referendums in a way that's similar to USG, just to enforce their decisions with the backing of the student body. But I think the actual way your bylaws are written is that a decision of SEC can be overturned by a referendum of students initiated by USG.
Correct.
So a student will have to work through one of you to initiate this referendum if they so choose to overturn this. So, and there's stipulations with that referendum as well.
And based on previous constitutional changes, it made it easier for students to initiate referendum. You have a higher threshold, now have a lower threshold.
Yep.
So again, I would encourage you, if you're interested, to definitely look at previous constitutional changes, which will be passed in referendum tomorrow.
Representative Teshalu? Representative Parliamentarian Agarwal?
Is this a one-time change or is annual?
So again, any decision that SEC does is one time. SEC looks at allocations every semester and basically decides whether there should be a change back. So next SEC, Sri and Colin will be serving as the representative for USG. They will look at the budgets of all organizations, look at the allocations, and see if there needs to be a change. So everything that SEC does is temporary.
Well, can I clarify that?
Colleen?
But this 20% is gone until the next SEC.
The SEC will have to decide to put it back. Correct.
Is that what you meant to do?
Oh yeah, I was just wondering whether they would take 19% every year from
Well, yes. According to that vote.
Yeah.
Their percentages change, their whole allocation.
Every year,
Right.
it's going to be dropping. Okay.
It's not for taking away, it's just
Right.
percentages low.
Any other questions for President Pinder? I'm going to reopen the floor for any points for open forum. Representative Lupton?
Yeah, this is directed towards, I think, the judicial board or the secretary. I'm not sure who has the information on it, but over the past couple of months, I've noticed that there's been, we've been really close to quorum quite a few times. I just wanted to know, is it the same people missing? Is it different people missing? Have we came close to our attendance coming? I mean, who would?
Who wants it?
Why haven't we acted on that if there is representatives that are showing up? Somebody just touch on that, if you could.
I don't know if it's the same, I can't name off the top of my head if it's the same people, but generally it's just, we have like, I think it's different representatives who aren't here for different reasons, and we always get short by a couple of people every single time.
I guess my question is, has the judicial board had any cases this semester?
We haven't had any attendance reviews, but there have been, I have addressed some attendance issues, and I've negotiated with the representative, because it's in my belief, this year I tried to prevent attendance reviews from happening, because it's just a very intimidating situation. So I negotiated with the representative, whether it be that they decided to leave General Assembly but be an at-large representative where they can accommodate their class schedule and still serve as a USG member, or they resign themselves, things like that. But I haven't had to formally go to a representative and say you need to come to judicial board. And I do get, just to let's give you background, I do ask Amy for the spreadsheet every month or so, and I look at it myself to see which representatives have not attended GA the appropriate amount of times.
Representative Hoffman?
Introduce the images of the shirt. So I designed a t-shirt like a couple days ago that Midri will hopefully be bringing up. And my idea, I really like one of the designs that I got from Jackie, so I did that for the front, and then the back is kind of, I wanted to get your input. It's all kind of different things. I went through the USG Facebook group and just kind of different events from this year of things that we've kind of done. And so I want to see if you guys wanted to amend the list of things or add to it, or how many people were interested in the shirt, and then I can send out a survey, and you can say whether you want to order one, and then
here we go.
I'm sorry.
Let me do it. I'm into it.
That's as big as it gets. Sorry.
It's all right. Anyone have any suggestions for Representative Hoffman?
I can try and read it off.
Huh?
Yeah, I want to see what it says. Control plus.
Whoa.
Oh, but it's pixelized. It's okay. USG.
And then for the legislation, Dwayne suggested that the legislation should be on there, but I can fit like the formal name of like the resolutions and stuff. So it says like coffee house study space legislation. It's kind of like more the formal name. I don't know what suggestions, comments.
You guys did too much. It doesn't fit on the shirt. How dare you? Does anyone have any suggestions for Representative Hoffman and this T-shirt?
Would this new resolution that we just passed be on this T-shirt?
Sure.
Will it fit?
Yeah.
Maybe right.
Can we add like a tail to the shirt? Just wrap it around. Just one long sleeve with some extra stuff. Yeah. President Pinder?
Okay, this might be really corny, but maybe if we add something
It's definitely really
use so
corny.
much we can't fit it on our shirt. You know?
No. Yeah, people like us and spread PR, not sound.
Ooh. Ooh.
Oh, geez.
Anytime you start something with "it might be corny," it's definitely going to be corny. To be honest with ourselves. Representative Bell?
Oh yeah, I guess it's just me like looking at it weird, but like it's. I mean, and you know how it has the angle, but if you start it collegiately, you have like an angle and then kind of angles back. Is that intentional or is it just kind of happening? Just like the way like the off-centered bottom stuff is, like how you have like disclosure course evaluations and way on the right being some things.
I was just trying to have it kind of go back and forth so it looked like a big smattering. I had it all lined up, but it looked weird.
Yeah, don't line it
I
up.
like it.
It does look like an S, I don't know why.
Or an 8.
I'm into it.
Is there any reason someone would like not want to order the shirt so I could fix it?
Dwayne would like his face on it.
Accomplishments in a collage. Yes.
Put his face.
So do we have suggestions for Representative Hoffman?
What if we get the brand going like
What is everyone's favorite shape? And we're going to have Emily form our accomplishments into that shape.
In a vertical line and a dash through it and make it a dollar sign. I like it.
Would people prefer to say like, what has USG done, or just USG?
What have you
Yeah, this is a little like.
What we do.
TCOB, taking care of business.
Just because if you add more writing, what has USG done? It's just going to be a huge shirt of writing
Fair.
In line.
Representative Irizarry, thank you for raising your hand.
Yeah, I can make it like outlined.
We could use the university's new font, Titilium. Representative Lupton? That is the university font.
I like the question mark. I just keep that in there just because it makes people think like, oh, is this a shirt like downgrading USG? So it's like people like gossip, they're like, oh, no, they do wonderful things.
All right, so does anyone have the shirt looks great. Does anyone have any real suggestions for Representative Hoffman?
I just have a question. Is USG paying for these, or are we paying for these ourselves? They should be, I'm going to use the same company, and they should be $6.07.
They are coming out of pocket, correct? Is what we had said. Okay.
Now they're coming out of pocket. Look and see if we can subsidize some of the costs, but prepare to pay for them out of pocket.
Yeah, but I mean, they should be, I'm going to use the same company we use for some other shirts, and it should be $6.03.
Thank you, Administrator.
Perhaps we can even send that survey to our new representatives and see if they would be interested. That sounds super. Representative Lupton.
Can you touch on, is this company, because they're so cheap, I know the exec board talked about something like fair trade. Are these, if they're so cheap, I don't see that they're possibly fair trade. Can you look into that?
Probably not. We're talking about suggestions for Representative Hoffman. Vice President Wynn?
Is the year going to go on the front somewhere, or the back, Maybe the front, because there's not too much.
Would we like it to say like USG
General Assembly 2010.
2009, 2010?
2010, 2011. Oh yeah, 09, 10.
09, 10.
Wait, what?
So like General Assembly 09, 10.
We can say General Assembly 19.
You could say that.
Oh, that's a good
We are the 19th Assembly of USG.
Yeah, so I don't know.
That's a cute one.
19th General Assembly.
19th General Assembly.
We'll look into it.
We should probably stick to 09-10. But that sounds like a great suggestion. Any other suggestions? Otherwise, we're going to move on.
Yes.
Representative Moeller. Not yet.
I have sort of a more bizarre idea, but on the back we could make it kind of like a band shirt. And it says like USG Rockin' Tour 2010. It's like
no.
Whoa. Whoa. I thought it was a good idea. Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to move on. Everyone, you are fantastic and have wonderful, unique ideas, and I love you all. Positive, 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 positive. That goes in the minutes. Bruce loves everyone. The floor is still open. Representative Downey?
This is not a teacher, but I had a question. I know this is actually for PR committee. I know they PR a lot of the USG events and all that. It's kind of their purpose. But some of the co-sponsorships and everything that we fund, do they also get PR'd by us, or is that kind of left on for their own, because they wouldn't be USG groups if they got co-sponsorship funding. So are they kind of left on their own, or do we help them out at all? Like through Collegiate Link, because they wouldn't be a group on there. So I'm not sure how they would be able to access that. So is that something we do or something we could look into?
Just go ahead.
So the way I look at it is we always do co-sponsorships, and the way I think of it is our help in advertisements, they would come and ask for our publication or whatever help. If they just need money, then I think that they should be as independently as a group be able to support their own event or whatever by publicizing their own event. But we had, and we just recently had someone come in that said, you know, we're having this event, and we just wanted you guys to help PR. So that's something that any group can come into a sponsorship with us. Exactly. So things like that is basically up onto the student group. If they want our PR help, they can definitely ask for it. We're definitely more than welcome to do whatever we can.
Vice President Sanford?
In follow-up to your question about whether or not that's something we can look into, yes, it is something that we have looked into. It's just that unfortunately there is a lot of things that we have to do, and it hasn't been a priority. I know that you can talk to our new VP of PR, Mr. Bell. That is something that is on his list of priorities to talk about.
Excellent. In the interest of time, I'm going to end open forum. If you'd like to stay and talk afterwards, I'll sit here and listen to you. Colleen.
No report.
Super. We are in announcements. Representative Lupton.
I guess I could bring this up in announcements. I'm going to send out an email to everybody that's going to be next week. Next Tuesday, we're going to do Pizza BOGO. We're going to ask, it costs $5, so we're going to ask any food you can bring, $8 to $10. I guess $10 we would really appreciate, but any donation would help. All proceeds are going to really good. One thing I want to do this year, I want to show of hands, maybe Bruce can do a count for me.
I'd love to.
One thing that I really wanted to do at Pizza BOGO is they've got 16 different pizzas, and they're cut in 8 slices, and I've asked him, and he said he can cut them in 16 slices. So is there 16 people that are willing to try all 16 pizzas? That's the question. I don't know if people are that, you know about the idea. I just wanted to see a show of hands of people who would be interested. So if you could raise your hand, if Bruce can count.
Who would be interested in
trying all 16 specialty pizzas?
We need 16 hands for this of people that are coming next year or next week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We've got 11. We'll scrape together 5 more. Go with it.
So far,
I'll buy the other 5.
I'll send out an email. In the email, I'll ask 2 questions. If you want to participate in that, the first 16 people will respond. And if you don't, just give me your customized pizza order. But I'll send out an email very soon about that. So.
Can we request little toothpick flags with the name of the pizza on it? And drink umbrellas. Little tiny drink umbrellas. Just cause. Okay. We won't do that. Colleen?
On the heels of the question about publicity, this is an event that exec agreed to help spread the word about, and it's Are We Listening? Can We Talk? It's an open forum. Share the Vision is sponsoring on Friday at 12:30 in Sears 480. The whole issue of discussion and dissent and safe conversations with friends and faculty is up for discussion. I'm really excited about this. And Dwayne, do you want to add anything? Because you were so instrumental in the creation of this as a shared vision.
Yeah, this kind of just goes to, you know, can we even have some of the tough conversations that kind of lead to learning and growth, and what it's about the entire college experience. So it's just going to be about, you know, how do we have a conversation, how do we have dialogue. I'm really excited about this event, and this is one of the events that is publicized on Collegiate Link. So if you go on Collegiate Link, you see it on the flyer board. So I definitely like to see everyone there. I think it's a really awesome event, and I'm excited to see what comes out of it.
Cool. Parliamentarian Agarwal.
Okay, so on Friday at 4 p.m. right here in the Topher room, a Hindu group, Hindu Yuva, will be coordinating what is called a Guru Vandana, which literally means honoring the teacher. And so they have invited President Snyder and Professor Butler, Chris Butler, to come in, and first they'll talk a little bit about the teacher-disciple relationship, and then they will literally do a prayer ceremony honoring President Snyder and Professor Butler. So if you're interested you're all welcome to come and see this proceeding, this prayer ceremony, and it'll be here in Topher on Friday.
What is it called again?
It's called Guru Vandana.
That sounds so cool. Representative Moeller?
There's voting tomorrow. There's constitutional amendments, arts and sciences runoff, and budget runoff. Vote.
When does that voting end?
Midnight? Midnight?
It's 24 hours?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, 8 a.m. to midnight.
18 hours? 16 hours? Can't do that kind of math. Colleen?
Well, Amy, have you announced recently what the fundraising efforts have been what the total has been to date for Relay for Life?
No, not yet, but I did send out an email about the celebrity bake sale. We raised about $160, which bring us close to about $1,500, including the generous donation from President Snyder. She donated $1,000 to our team. So.
Whoa. That's super. Representative Kawashima?
Are we doing what we did last year?
The grilled cheese.
I'm not sure yet, but we're also maybe looking into doing pancakes.
Pancakes? Okay.
Ooh, there's a pancake breakfast.
Can we put cheese in between two pancakes? I'd be all about that. Any other announcements? Ms. Wade?
Oh yeah, I really love sitting in these meetings and being a new at-large rep, and it's a lot of fun. But okay, just when you're making a motion, it's I move to or I move that. It's never I motion. And me and Jackie just want to because I'm pulling out my hair. But it's I move to or I move that. It's never I motion. Just read your representative binders that I helped you put together.
The FIMU grammar police are correct. When you move, it makes a motion. You do not motion to make a movement.
Oh.
Oh. Well, are there any other announcements before Claire gives her announcement? I just have to ask really quickly, how many of you are in some sort of student group besides USG? And keep your hand up if your student group has put in an application for a booth for Springfest. Bad. Thursday at midnight. That's your deadline. Thursday at midnight, please. We have a ton already, and it's going to be the biggest Springfest ever. Ms. Hammond.
April 13th, that's next Tuesday. I know everyone will be in GA. It's from 6 to 8, the event I'm talking about. Delta Gamma is going to be hosting an etiquette dinner in Twing Ballroom. It's a free event, and I really appreciate if you spread the word. PR is going out right now. You have to RSVP for the event to dgetiquette@gmail.com because we have a cap for the amount of students that we're going to be feeding. It's going to be a speaker. It's going to be coming and talking to students about how to dine in an interview setting. So I think it'll be really fun and really worthwhile. So please tell your friends.
When is that?
Next Tuesday, April 13th, from 6 to 8 p.m.
Excellent. Does that mean we won't have any Delta Gammas here next Tuesday? Yikes. Any other announcements? President Pinder.
Inauguration's Monday.
Woo!
Please get ready. I'm really excited about this. This is an opportunity for us execs to really appreciate you guys for all the hard work you've done. So please make sure you can attend. If you have an RSVP, please RSVP and just get excited. I'm really excited about this event. Okay.
Representative Hammond. Get out. Thank you guys for being patient tonight.
I do have 11
Exec. We have to take a photo for the representative website.
That's fantastic. I had chicken and waffle, like gourmet chicken and waffles for the first time. It's unbelievable.
Not anymore. I think we decided it was just.
That's fantastic. I did get your email. I just figured I would talk. I'm not ignoring you. I've been hitting like 200 emails a day. It's disgusting. Yeah. So, okay.
GA about what you're doing, saying that just because you've elected a new general assembly, your term doesn't run out
Let's
until May
meet.
1st.
I'll do that.
And I think a lot of them just don't think that they need to be here.
I'll do that.
Thursday, 5:30. Just get coffee at Starbucks, and then we can both come back to Twain for, because I have a meeting at 16. Does that work? Excellent. I'll see you then. I'm so sorry. I'm not avoiding you. Okay. See you then.
I know, I can see it. It's not a big deal, that's why I didn't say anything.
Can you tell Josh Harbaugh to go back to Oregon? Thanks.
Did he say something? If he's watching,
Some of the utilities.
it's making sense. We definitely do a lot. If I didn't say anything,
So